Creativity. Creativity is the ability to produce work that is novel, new, and surprising, as well as appropriate, meaning it is relevant, useful, and adaptive to constraints. Appropriateness is a key criteria. Novelty alone does not suffice. Creativity can take many forms. Ideas such as concepts, poems, music, recipes, jokes. Artifacts such as paintings, sculptures, the combustion engine, and space shuttles.
Some studies have attempted to model the cognitive, affective, behavioral, and contextual factors associated with the making of a work of art. A study trying to answer the question, how does an artist create his or her work, observed a Chinese ink painter and found that his process was similar to the case of jazz improvisation. Jazz players use limited patterns and combine them using certain rules to produce jazz music. While highly effective, producing similar works repeatedly can become boring. In the painter's case, the audience added random lines to his drawing, creating new constraints and forcing creativity.
At Georgia Tech, researchers are developing an intelligent agent that implements the inactive model of creativity. In this model, the agent's cognitive spectrum ranges from a mental model to the environment as shown in this figure. The rectangle on the spectrum of cognition is the agent's awareness, which moves between the mental model and the environment depending on the situation. When the agent performs routine tasks, its awareness stays in the middle of the spectrum. Minor deviations can cause slight movements away from the middle. When the agent performs unfamiliar tasks, it closely examines the environment to update the mental model. To do this, the agent's awareness moves back and forth between the environment on the right side and the mental model on the left side. Eventually the awareness tightens, and the situation becomes familiar.
A common model for creativity is the blending theory proposed by Forcairt and Turner. Conceptual blending involves two or more mental input spaces and a subsequent combination of them. Each input space has relevant concepts expressed within them, such as a sword being swingable, old, and dangerous, or a laser being electric, futuristic, and dangerous. The generic space maps from each input space the concepts which belong in the same category. In the blend space, the final creative idea is born, when mapped concepts from each input space is picked, and other emergent concepts are generated through pattern recognition or elaboration. In the previous example, the laser and sword may be blended into a lightsaber. Providing solutions to new problems requires the use of analogies to form new and creative solutions. If a problem is similar to a previous experience, then the old solution may be used by changing certain variables. With new problems, general abstractions must be formed from past experiences by summarizing elements from these experiences with their configurations and relationships.
Erin is an example of a creative real-world implementation of an artificial network. Originally developed by Harold Cohen in 1973, Erin is not able to learn new styles or imagery, as each ability needs to be hard-coded by Cohen into the program. It has an ability to create a near-infinite amount of paintings using the hard-coded styles it possesses. Images created by Erin are on show all over the world, and these images are the equivalent of the Turing test for artistic abilities of artificial intelligence. Cohen doesn't believe Erin is creative, as most paintings created by the program have a similar style of figures standing next to a plant. The benchmark for years for intelligent agents has been the Turing test, but in 2000, a group of researchers proposed a new, more rigorous test of intelligence. The Lovelace test requires a program to create something that it was not intended to create, and the designers must also not be able to explain how the original code led to it. Georgia Tech's own Mark Riedel recently proposed a looser variation, stating that the original Lovelace is impossible to beat. Under the new test, an agent must be able to create a valid artifact in some genre that satisfies a set of constraints set forth by a human evaluator. Crikey.